Hi everyone. I hope you had a great 4th of July holiday weekend, and I hope that you did great proper social distancing so that you're nice and safe and secure and stable and healthy. Healthy is good. We have been pretty quiet here ourselves and doing more gardening and trying to just get on top of things. It's amazing how much you find there is to do when you have the time to actually kind of dive into some major projects, and that's what we've been doing over here. So we're going to do the numerology and the astrology for July 7th, 2020. If you add all those numbers together, you get the number 9. Well, you get an 18, and then if you add the 1 and the 8 together, you get the number 9. And so once again, we're at a point that is about completion. A moment when you get to choose whether you're going to continue on this path or make a necessary and needed change. I like to take this day and make some consistent and enduring shifts. Because right now there are so many huge issues up for so many in this world, and it can feel like the necessary change is going to be impossible, but that change always does and will happen. That is the nature of life, and the past will collapse into ash and dust and dirt from which it came, and new growth always rises out of the ashes. Presently, those that hang on to the past are consciously intending to manifest toxic emotions and demonize and demoralize those that want and need and intend to create a more integrative and honest future. The good news is that you cannot destroy hope nor freedom, and both those emotions are strong and deliberate right now. The astrology today is pretty simple. The moon is in Aquarius, giving the rebel in you some air. You want clear, honest, and intellectual conversations. The unusual is a draw, and the unconventional is of great interest. You are happier when your focus is clear and concise. There is a Pluto-Mars quintile, and it makes you more willing to challenge yourself and find a strategy that will eventually get you to those goals. This day draws us closer to a square between Mars and Mercury when Mercury is in retrograde, and the potential for disagreements is high and will continue to be that way. There are those floundering to find fault with others' truths. Know that communication is going to be impatient and ineffective. Healthy dialogue is not going to be possible. Certain minds are set, and their goal is to agitate, and by doing that, they dominate a conversation. The reality is that they need to hear themselves talk. So let them talk until they eventually hear themselves and recognize how bizarre it sounds. Resolving the huge issues are not going to happen right here, so don't jump to conclusions. There are decisions that are going to take time, a lot of time. My quote for today: compassion can say no. Compassion stands up to bullies, not with passive platitudes, but with swords of clarity. Compassion sees the distortion of a soul's mind as it struggles to find an elusive center. But it will not wait for the bullshit to pass. That is because it is not compassionate to allow a soul to continue to cause itself karmic suffering without being given a chance to change. So on Gaia Ma the other day, which is a YouTube channel person thing, she gave a story that was by the Dharma teacher Lama Tultsum Alion, and I will completely murder that name. I apologize. And so I wanted to repeat this one because I think it was just so critically important right now. So this is his story. This is not my story. I was at lunch with the Dalai Lama and 5 Buddhist teachers at Spirit Rock Meditation Center. We were sitting in a charming room with white carpets and many windows. The food was delightful, fragrant, vegetarian Indian meal. There were lovely flower arrangements on the table. We were discussing sexual misconduct among Western Buddhist teachers. A woman Buddhist from California brought up someone who was using his students for his own sexual needs. One woman said, "We are working with him with compassion, trying to get him to understand his motives for exploiting female students and to help him change his actions." the Dalai Lama slammed his fist on the table, saying loudly, "Compassion is fine, but it has to stop, and those doing it should be exposed." All serving plates on the table jumped, the water glasses tipped precariously, and I almost choked on the bite of saffron rice in my mouth. Suddenly, I saw him as a fierce manifestation of compassion and realized that this clarity did not mean that the Dalai Lama had moved away from compassion. Rather, he was bringing compassion and manifesting it as decisive fierceness. His magnetism was glowing like a fire. I will always remember that day because it was such a good teaching on compassion and precision. Compassion is not wishy-washy, anything goes approach. Compassion can say a fierce no. And once again, this is a story by Lama Tulstrom Alion. I'm murdering that name again. I apologize. So that is not my personal story. That is actually a story. That is someone else's story. And so, you know, I really wanted to talk about that for a second. I mean, I really believe that we are what we're lacking in this time is that decisive fierceness. I love that phrase because it's reflected in that story. Decisive fierceness followed through with action is going to be essential for the next few months. And, you know, what's tricky is that you can feel it. I mean, you can feel people are absolutely all the way at the edge and they are pissed off. They are angry. They are frustrated. They are resentful. They're resentful that they're going to have to change. They're resentful that the world is going in a direction that they don't like. And this means both sides. I mean, so this is not one side or the other. This is like both sides. And you can see that the volatility is ratcheting up and the aggression is ratcheting up. And so I want to turn that, if I possibly can, into this decisive fierceness. And to recognize that, you know, this Pollyanna metaphysical lollipop land of, you know, oh, we just have to be nice. Oh, we just have to be nice. Actually also isn't conducive to change. And I think that you do have to do a decisive fierceness at a certain point. And you have to call people out and say, I know who you are. And I know who you can be. And you don't want to be this right now. You don't want to be this angry, pissed off, racist, constricted, contracted, depleted victim person. You don't want to be that. And so you need to show up, and you need to show up in a way that is, you know, constructive and loving and kind and compassionate, but you are going to have to be fierce. You are going to have to show up with a place of true, sure-footed, grounded, like, let's deal with what really is in this moment. And that's going to be really hard. It's going to be really hard and really rough, and it's going to take a long time because, you know, you cannot change minds overnight. And even, you get all these people that think they're being educated and they think that they know what they're talking about. And they actually don't know what they're talking about. They're actually, again, touting something that somebody told them that matches their biases, but it's actually not based on fact, that they're believing someone who's saying something as a fact when it's not really a fact. And it's just like, and it's exhausting. I mean, trust me, it's exhausting, like trying to check things out on snoops.com and make sure that things are truthful and honest and, you know, try to figure these things out. I mean, it's exhausting trying to figure it out. And what I come down to is it right? Is it true? And does it help people? And if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. If it's not true, it actually, again, feels off. It feels energetically. And you know, if it doesn't serve other people or doesn't help other people, it doesn't matter how much you like it in your head. If what you're doing is causing other people harm, or causing them to be afraid, or causing them to constrict, or causing them to feel unsafe, then it's wrong. It's that simple. It's wrong. And it's kind of hard because, being decisively fierce, you have to sometimes put the falseness right in front of people and they will feel threatened by that. But again, if you're doing something that is protecting others, that's to me, that is the game. Like, if somebody tried to attack an African American person or a person of color or a person of a different religious affiliation in front of me, I'm going to be decisively fierce and I'm going to be in your face. I am not going to listen to this crap coming out of your mouth. I am not. If you're doing something that actually puts somebody in danger related to their health when they're trying to protect their health, I'm going to be in your face, especially if you're like shaming them or, trying to say, oh, what you scaredy cat, spit, spit, spit. I mean, I'm going to come unfucking glued on you. I mean, sort of like, and there's that decisive fierceness. It's like, this person's trying to protect themselves. You get to make your own choices, but you don't get to harm other people intentionally just to prove that you're right. That's totally not okay. So it's going to get really bumpy here. It's going to get super, super, super bumpy. And the bottom line is, if you're causing harm to other people, there are going to be other people that are going to be decisively fierce and are going to come straight at you because people have had enough. People are done. And, so if you're getting that kind of reaction, pay attention, pay attention in whatever way, shape, and form, and make a correction in some way, shape, and form, and try to make an adjustment and try to admit that maybe you're wrong and see how it's going to go. But this could be tough. It could be bumpy. Okay, everybody. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching. Bye.